We continue our reading of Lest We Forget, a daily devotional by author George R. Knight. Today's reading, April 30, When Does the Sabbath Begin? Part 3. They searched the Scriptures daily, whether those things were so. Acts 17:11. The Bible and searching it diligently were central to early Sabbatarian Adventists. Thus it was, as we saw yesterday, on the time to begin and end the Sabbath. James White reported that Andrew's Bible study in late 1855 had settled the minds of nearly all of those present that the sunset time was correct. He undoubtedly included himself in that group. But not everyone agreed with Andrew's conclusions. As White put it, Bates and a few others were at that point out of harmony with the body of believers. Joseph had taught the 6 p.m. position for a decade, and he dug in to defend his position. Here was a problem. Some of the movement's leaders clung to the old position, even after Bible study had clearly set forth text after text that the biblical even began at sundown, and that, therefore, the Sabbath also must, of necessity, by Bible definition, commence at sunset. After all, God had plainly taught that from even unto even shall ye celebrate your Sabbath. Leviticus 23:32. But despite the Bible study on the topic, Bates and a few others still sought to justify the old approach by the logical application of their human reason based on stray texts from here and there. Now, James White doesn't identify who those few others were who were standing against the church body on the topic of the time to start the Sabbath, but Uriah Smith tells us who at least one of them was. It was Ellen White. The tension over the issue, with 2 of the 3 founders of the movement being out of harmony with the majority, must have been both serious and apparent to all. 2 days after Andrews presented his study, James later recalled they had a special season of prayer, during which Mrs. White had a vision, one item of which was that the sunset time was correct. That settled the matter with Brother Bates and others, and general harmony had since prevailed among us upon this point. Whether we like it or not, those of us in the church still disagree. We can be thankful that God is ever willing to guide his people toward unity. And this concludes our reading today of Lest We Forget.